Well, hello there, folks. How are you? It's Kenneth James Kerr once again, and thank you for joining me today in the video library. I do appreciate you being here today, and I appreciate you being a member of what we are doing. Today, we're going to take a look at vignette number 7 from This Book is the Perfect Gift. You'll find it on page 15 if you have the paperback, page 21 if you have the hardback, and again, if you don't have a copy of the book yet, it's down below. Here's what the quotation says. If your body and mind are in two different places, you might want to invite them to get back together again rather quickly. Let me say it again. If your body and mind are in two different places, you might want to invite them to get back together again rather quickly. Now, I know that quotation, that phrase, that sentence does have a little bit of kind of tongue-in-cheek humour to it. I mean, it's kind of a crazy idea, isn't it? You know, well, my body and mind, and are you kidding? My body and mind in two different places? Well, how the heck is that possible? That's silly. Well, you know what, you can say that, but the reality is that for a lot of people, that is reality. Their body and mind are in two different places. Now, you may remember that a little while back we were looking at a previous vignette and we talked about 3 different time periods, right? We talked about the past, we talked about the future, we talked about the present, and we said that you had to stay present in the present moment, right? In the now. This vignette is kind of like a reverse side of that in a sense. It's like a flip side of a coin, but it's the same coin. Instead of talking about being present in the now moment, we want to talk about you being present in your current location. So it's not just the now, it's the here. Because the here and now is vitally, vitally important. And so that's why I say it. If your body and mind are in two different places, you might want to invite them to get back together again pretty quickly. You know what it's like to daydream, don't you? I use an illustration in the vignette. Daydreaming, it can be fun, it can be a luxury, it can be something you enjoy, it can be an indulgence, something you deliberately do now and again. But there are times when daydreaming doesn't serve you. The example I give in the book itself is this one, and I'll talk a wee bit more about it now. I remember when I was a teenager, and for those of you who are from the UK, I was doing my A-levels. And I remember we went into the room, this was in Corby, England, Corby Grammar School, and I remember I went into the room to do my A-level English. Sat down at the desk, brought out the paper that they were giving us, turned it over and looked at it. And next thing I knew, an hour had gone by. Now, I think we had 2 hours allocated to us. And I don't know what in the heck happened in that first hour. I have no idea. I didn't fall asleep. I'm sure somebody would have prodded me and said, "Oh, mate, wake up." I didn't do that. But I'll tell you what, my mind certainly wasn't where I was. My body was right there in the examination room, right? Supposedly looking at that paper. And it was supposed to be writing answers. But I'm darned if I know where my mind was. It was the weirdest experience. I suddenly became aware of the fact that I'd wasted an hour. And I couldn't even tell you what I'd been thinking about. Daydreaming? I don't know what that was. But my body and mind were not in the same place. And then I had to try and write a 2-hour exam in an hour. Well, I got a pretty poor mark. So there you go. Now, that's an occasion where this body and mind separation, it didn't really serve me, did it? And I only lost marks. But there was another occasion that I'll share with you from my life where it could have had much more serious consequences. on this particular occasion, I'd been living down in England, and my parents by that time had moved up to Scotland. I'd moved up with them, but then I went back down to England again for Bible college. And I was down there in England, and I decided, I think it was a long weekend or a week off or something, and I thought, I'll get back up to Scotland and see my folks. It was like oh my goodness, a 7-hour drive or something like that. But I made the mistake of visiting with a lot of people before I started out the main drive. The result was that I started off a lot later in the day. And I remember I was driving up the M6 motorway from, again, the Midlands of England up to Inverness area in Scotland. And I'd started on the drive, and it was a lot later, and I'm not sure where I was along the M6, but at some point I started to get drowsy. Now, you know what that's like, because you've been there, I'm sure, where you start to get drowsy and you're driving, and you know that you should stop, you know that you should quit and take a rest, take a break, but you want to keep going, right? And so I wanted to keep going. And then I remember there was this truck, this semi, let me use the old British term, this articulated lorry, way up ahead of me. And by now it was night, and I could see its lights. And here's exactly what my perception was. It was a way off in the distance. Suddenly it was here. Suddenly it was here. Suddenly it was here. And I had no transition between. What was happening? I was nodding off and wakening up, nodding off and wakening up. And when it was right up against what seemed to be the front of my car, that was a wake-up call. That was a wake-up moment. I pulled off at the next service station that I came across, and I think I had a Trans Spitfire back then, ragtop convertible, and I put down the flipping roof, and it didn't matter how cool the air was, I wanted to waken up and then relax. So that could have had much more serious consequences. It wouldn't have been a loss of marks, would it? It could have been a loss of my life. Reality check. We all have times when our body and mind are in two different places. And it's not always a luxury. It's not always something that we can indulge in. Sometimes it causes us to miss out on things. And for some people, it does cause their life. How many people have fallen asleep at the wheel and never got the chance to waken up again? Word to the wise. So let's talk about this concept of lack of awareness, because that's really what it is. My mind and body being in a separate place, as it were, I was fully unaware of what happened in the exam room. I was fully unaware of that transition as I was getting closer to that truck. How many people go through life with a lack of awareness? How many people literally go through life as if they are asleep at the wheel of their existence? Many. Great swathes of the population, swathes, whatever the word is, great chunks of the population go through life just like that. Almost on a kind of an automatic pilot, right? It's true. Think about it. You know, what kind of things are our distractions from life, distractions from reality? Well, the big one these days is our cell phone. They said it's a smartphone. Well, guess what? That smartphone is making us dumber. Oh my good Lord Almighty. Have you ever tried sitting at a restaurant and looking round and seeing how many people, even when they're sitting at the same table as someone else, are sitting there like this? I saw a cartoon not that long ago. This guy is dead, and he goes up to heaven, and he's standing at the pearly gates, and he's doing this. And St. Peter is shaking his head. And God says, "What's up? What's up, Peter?" "Well, it's all these people are so sad. There's nothing in their hands. We are absolutely hypnotized by our cell phones. Absolutely hypnotized by these things, by these devices. And make no mistake about it, that is not an accident. Oh, I know some people might say, oh, these things are set up to track us. And maybe that's true. There is certainly a lot of evidence for that. But even if they're not tracking us, they are distracting us from reality, distracting us from life. They are hypnotizing us. They are taking our life. They are sucking the very life out of us. Try this, folks. Put your cell phone down on the table and see how long you can go before you pick it back up. And your mind goes down into this device, and your mind goes everywhere except where you are present, physically. Now, like I say, that can be great, it can be wonderful, it can be a nice distraction for a while, because we all need that sometimes. But when it gets to the point where it takes over, now we've got a problem. And we do, societally. Societally. Or it might be the TV, soap operas, reality shows, game shows. They're getting more and more stupid and idiotic and intelligence questioning with every single year. My good Lord Almighty. Now that's been happening for years and years and years and years. We can all, even at my age, look back many, 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 many years and think of TV shows that were on when I was a kid, that people were watching. But nowadays, or it might be the news. The constant drum of the news over and over and over and over and over and over again. I remember one time I went to a hospital for something, went into the emergency room. And as I sat there in the emergency, there was a TV going, and it was just the same flipping stuff every 15 minutes. And it was about people getting ill, people getting sick, people hurting, people dying. And I thought, good grief, what the heck are you guys playing this for in a hospital waiting room? I mean, talk about dumping on people's thoughts, dumping on people's hopes. Holy mackerel. So whether it's your cell phone, whether it's the television soaps, whether it's the news, or your computer games, or your video games, the reality is that there is an incredible lack of awareness in society. And when you have a lack of awareness in society, it's easy to fool society over anything you want to fool them over. Because now they're so used to being told what to think, shown what to think, shown what to believe, because they're in this hypnotic state of lack of awareness of reality, of the life around them, and lack of awareness of where they even are in their life. Now that's where we're at in society. That's exactly where we're at in society. And I have two words for this. Wake up! Wake up! My God, we used to say, wake up and smell the roses. No, 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 no. Wake up and get back to your real life. If your body and mind are in two different places, you might want to invite them to get back together again rather quickly. Why? Because life is passing you by and you're not even frickin' noticing it. Because we're so sucked in to this daydreaming, this mental malaise, this hypnotic state of permanent, noisy distraction. Oh, it may not cost you an exam. It may not cost you your life in terms of your physical life, but it may cost you living. being alive to reality around you. Wake up, become aware. Awareness is the key. Be aware of the people around you. Be aware of the situations around you. Be aware of the opportunities around you. Be aware of the possibilities around you. Be aware of the now moment. And be aware of this here location, this here place that you are in. Because unless we all waken up, our life will go past us and we won't even notice it, and we'll come to the end of our lives and go, my God, how did that happen? Is that what you want? Of course not. So I'm going to give you a little exercise to do as we close this out. And this has been a very simple talk, but it's also very profound. And here's the little exercise. Do you remember, again, a couple of vignettes back, I asked you to look around and, what do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? And all that. Well, I'm going to do something similar to ground you in not the now moment just per se, but the here location. Sit back in your chair and relax for a minute. Keep your eyes open, okay? Now I want you to look around. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to look with such a critical eye at the room around you that you notice something that you hadn't noticed before. Something you'd missed through lack of awareness. Now, just do it right now. It might be, I'm doing it. I've got a painting up on my wall, other side of the camera there, about 8 feet away. And I've just noticed it's a wee bit squint. Oh, good Lord, I'm having fun with some words today. It's a wee bit squinty, all right? It's not hanging up straight. Now, how long has it been sitting like that? I don't know. I'm in this room for 10 hours every day, and I've not noticed that. What about you? Is a painting slightly off kilter? Is there a mark on your carpet? Is there a wee nick in your settee? Is there an ornament that's been shifted slightly on the mantelpiece? Is there some dust on a desk? Is there something you've not picked up off the floor that's been sitting there for weeks? Do you get the point? Look around right now in your here location and see what you have missed. Now, the big one. In our hypnotic state of our current existence, where we're so distracted, what else have you missed? Because your mind and your body are in two different locations. I close with a memory of a friend of mine from Scotland. Haven't contacted this chappie in decades. But I remember a chap who used to say this, and then he would burst into great peals of laughter after he said it. He would say, "Wherever you are, be there. Wherever you are, be there." And you know what? That is very, very, very good advice. If your body and mind are in two different places, you might want to invite them, that's awareness, to get back together again rather quickly. Wherever you are, be there. Be aware. And don't miss out on life because you were distracted. This is Kenneth James Kerr. I will see you in the next video. Till then, have a wonderful day. Take care.